Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I got a press release the other day, as did many of my viewers, from the Institute for Justice. And this is good news. And you have to understand that, you hear people say, I'm going to take this case all the way to the Supreme Court. And a lot of cases could never get to the Supreme Court because they settle. Or it happens to work out at a lower stage where somebody says, okay, fine, we're done with this. And they walk away from the litigation. So here, a big victory when a case was on the verge of trial. So this is from the press release from the Institute for Justice. Scott Bullock sent this, and it has to do with Pasco County. And Pasco County in Florida had this bizarre operation where the police were doing what they called predictive policing. And if you've seen that movie Minority Report, you know that one of the themes in it was that they could, in the future, predict who is going to commit a crime and then do something about it before they committed the crime. Wouldn't that be great if we could stop all crime before it happened? And of course, that is a science fiction film, not a documentary. Scott Bullock writes, "'Tis the season for stopping dystopian government programs. Just yesterday, we ended Pasco County, Florida's horrible predictive policing system. This victory is a testament to the importance of your steadfast support as we put together a path-breaking but complicated case to halt what was once considered a cutting-edge police tool. IJ launched this case back in 21. After 3 years of gathering devastating evidence, we were finally ready to put the program on trial, literally, which was scheduled to begin yesterday. And among the evidence they had was body cam footage, depositions, hearings, preliminary arguments. They were on the verge of trial. You may recall this program bore more than a passing resemblance to the film Minority Report. The sheriff's office used arbitrary criteria combined with a supposedly sophisticated algorithm to predict which people in the community, including local teenagers, might commit future crimes. Police then harassed individuals and families by going to their homes unannounced, sometimes multiple times a week, to interrogate them. And if people felt families weren't sufficiently cooperative, they would issue citations for harmless code violations, just to keep them on their toes. So the IJ case team was on the ground in Florida preparing when Pasco capitulated on the eve of trial. The sheriff's office not only agreed to end the program, they also admitted that they violated the Fourth Amendment by visiting clients' property repeatedly without cause. They admitted they violated the First Amendment by enforcing guilt by association, and they admitted they violated due process rights by putting people on a government list without adequate procedures. And so if you just think about this, you go, well, suppose I'm in charge of fighting crime in this community. Where's most of the crime going to probably occur? Well, over here we got a lot of crime. Okay, so who's over here? Okay, these people are over here. So if there's going to be crime over here and these people are over here, these people are probably going to commit a crime. That's not actually how you fight crime. Okay? So we also made sure the agreement to end this program is enforceable by the court. So if there's any backsliding by the sheriff, we can go right back to the judge. They agreed to a 6-figure payment to the clients who were injured by this for at least a measure of compensation for what they had to endure. So this is important. A lot of times a lawsuit will settle, a case will settle, whatever. And you settle it, you put it on the record, probably sign some documents, submit them to the court, and then you submit a dismissal to the court, and the court then takes the file, literally, closes it, and sends it back down to the clerk's office because this file is closed. Put it into deep storage. And they've said that they actually entered into an agreement, which apparently the court agrees with, saying this might need oversight by a court somewhere down the road just in case. So can we get the court to agree that if necessary, we can come back in here without filing a new action? And apparently they got that agreement put together. So as you know, many IJ cases are about stopping nationwide abuses, but some, as in Pasco, are about preventing unbelievably abusive things from becoming nationwide trends. As you can imagine, if Pasco had done anything with respect to the numbers, they said, hey, look, we got the crime numbers to go down a little bit. Other departments would say, hey, we're going to do that too. And of course, there might be people in the community going, well, if crime's going down, we're happy. Unless you're one of the people they've decided might be a future criminal. So the sheriff's office thought they were launching an innovative program, but of course it was systematically violating the Constitution. So if left unchallenged, the program probably would have spread. Other departments probably would have picked it up and said, hey, yeah, good idea. So no more. Because of your generous support, we were able to stop this dead in its tracks. Thank you for standing with us as we fight to protect freedom and hold government accountable. Together we can ensure that innovation does not undermine liberty, but advances it. And he signed it, Scott. And Scott, of course, is Scott G. Bullock, President and Chief Counsel of the Institute for Justice. And so, it's one of those things where I can see some people going, Steve, nowadays with computers and AI and all this other cool stuff, maybe they can kind of predict where crimes are going to occur, right? Okay, let's suppose that I could figure something out and go, hey, that bank is going to get robbed tomorrow. Go stake out the bank. But you don't go, well, who's likely going to do that, though? Some people over here. Do you have any evidence of that? No. But an algorithm told me. That's going to be the new excuse. An algorithm ate my homework. They're going to say, no, algorithm told us that it was going to be these guys. No evidence. So here's the thing. If somebody is about to commit a crime, hypothetically, but they haven't yet, and you go to talk to them, unless they admit to you, I was about to go commit a crime, what can you accomplish by talking to them? Scaring them into not doing the crime? I suppose it's possible, but how would you ever prove that it worked? Well, they didn't commit a crime. So let's suppose that you live in a town of, 20,000 people, and you go and talk to somebody about a crime that you thought they were going to commit, and they don't commit it. And you go, hey, there was no crime last night. It worked. What about the 19,999 people you didn't speak to? It's got so many problems. And don't get me wrong. I have some feelings for the police going, I wish they could do more to fight crime. I really do. I don't like crime. I want the police to succeed in catching the bad guys. I do. But the bad guys, by definition, are people who've done something bad. You're not a bad person if somewhere down the road you might do something bad. Why don't we go out and predictively police at the bars and arrest future drunk drivers? Go, well, a guy's drinking, he's got a car out in the parking lot. Let's arrest him now. That would keep drunk drivers off the road. But, of course, we don't know if the guy's going to have a designated driver, call an Uber, could walk home. And so you see where the abuse can come from. And it's interesting because on the eve of trial, they agreed to settle it. And, quite often settlement agreements in general are kept secret and private and no one really knows what happened. But here, because the settlement addresses a public program that the department was involved in, well, parts of the settlement have got to be public. And so they've actually said, yes, it violated the Fourth Amendment, violated the First Amendment. And keep in mind, people always think of the First Amendment as simply being speech. But there's also a freedom of association. You can hang out with who you want to hang out with. And you don't have to hang out with people you don't want to hang out with. That's my simplified version of that freedom of association. And so apparently one of the things they're doing here was saying, well, this person here is bad. So all of their known associates must be bad also. See, I picked up a lot of really cool language from detective shows in the 70s. And we all know, by the way, if you want to solve a crime, you don't do predictive policing. You contact Huggy Bear. He knows. But I've digressed. So I got to point out, as I often do, the Institute for Justice thrives doing what they do. But they also survive entirely based on the generosity of donors. They're a nonprofit, and a lot of people in my audience have donated to them. And I get notes all the time from people saying, Steve, I just donated to the Institute for Justice because I hear you talking about them, and I want to support them, and I wanted to let you know that. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much, even though I don't benefit at all from that, but they do. But they're such a good organization that I support them, and I encourage other people to support them as well. And I've mentioned before, a little over a year ago, I went to a retreat where they were putting on presentations, but they also brought in some of their clients. And I've met people that I've done stories about. I met somebody, for instance, who had a safe deposit box in that private vaults business in California. I met James King, the guy who was beaten up by the undercover cops in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've met him. And it was amazing to meet the people who are in these stories. But I got to watch the attorneys, and I saw presentations. And then later on, they did a Supreme Court presentation in the Michigan Supreme Court. I went and watched them argue it. And I've seen the work they do. I've literally watched it with my own eyes. And they do amazing work. And they are on the right side of these things. And think about this if you live in Pasco County. The fact is that the police may have started hassling you, not because of anything you had done, but because they determined that you might do something down the road. And so there's a problem there. So support them if you can. I'll put a link to them in the description below the video. But Pasco County ends predictive policing scheme, direct result of a legal action by the Institute for Justice. They've put it in writing. It has been taken care of by a court. And going forward, the system and the operation is done. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Hey, don't follow me. I'm lost too.